A deal on Dickens, who could resist? A stack of Austen, warmly kissed. Golden Age crime tales twist and turn, every page a treasure to learn. Books keep coming home with me, piles so tall they're all I see. Turn a page and sail the sea, reading always feels so free.
Hi, my name is Talia. Welcome to Talia Nerds Out. Just wanted to do a couple of book haul videos. This one here will be a fiction one. Then I will be doing a nonfiction one after. Not sure when they will go up. But these are my Christmas book hauls, plus a little bit that I had picked up a bit before Christmas. But that being said, I'm going to go ahead and dive right in. With the divided book haul, made it a little bit less extreme than it might have otherwise been. So for fiction, I think first I'll show the mystery. Actually, no, first I will show this one. So I've mentioned that I am wanting to reread The Hunger Games. I've only read the first book. I had to stop for a while because in other words, I didn't go on to the rest of the books in the series because I couldn't stop reading when I was doing the first one. I just basically had to read it all in one sitting just because I had to see what happened next. And stayed up way too late when I can't remember if I had to work the next day or it was not a good situation. I shouldn't have stayed up. So for a long time, I put off reading the rest of them because I knew I lacked self-control when it came to those books, or at least to the first one. Then I became sick and got to the point where I couldn't handle the intensity of the books. I've since spoiled the books for myself, read what to expect so that way it won't hit me quite the same way, and I'll be able to enjoy the writing without having the surprise necessarily. So hopefully I'll be able to finish that series. That's a long way of saying that I've got the Hunger Game books, but I also picked up this one for Mom, one for myself, Sunrise on the Reaping. Neither of us care very much about reading of Songbirds and Snakes. Don't really feel like that story was terribly necessary. Never really needed a backstory on Snow. But Mom had always thought that there should be one on Haymitch. That's what she thought that of Songbirds and Snakes should have been. Well, this is on Haymitch, from what I understand. So both of us skipped Sunrise on the Reaping. Neither of us have any. Both of us skipped a Songbirds and Snakes. Neither of us care for the idea of reading that, but we will read Sunrise on the Reaping. Although I want to finish the other Hunger Games books, the trilogy, before I start this one. So at some point, Mom and I will be reading that together. And I'm interested because I'm not generally a huge fan of prequels. A lot of times I feel like they're hard to do right. That a lot of times they can feel like they're trying too hard to get all the different aspects that people liked about the original stuff. Like, oh, well, they liked, I don't know. It just feels like sometimes things get shoehorned in, or explanations that aren't really necessary. Like, instead, things that people were allowed to kind of imagine for themselves prior, all of a sudden need an explanation when really they didn't. Sometimes there just needs to be room for imagination. So sometimes I always am a little bit hesitant when it comes to prequels. On my own, I might not have picked up Sunrise on the Reaping, but my mom has always wanted to read Haymitch's story, and I figured we might as well do it together. So this probably will never be my favorite in the series unless it surprises me quite a bit, just because as a general rule I don't care for prequels because generally they're not done well, in my opinion. Then I want to touch upon my mysteries, and I think most of these are library crime classics. Oh wait, first, only one of them is a modern one. This is one that I've done a review on it before I picked up the book itself. I did a review on it. I borrowed it through Libby really enjoyed it. But I wanted my mom to read the book as well. She doesn't have a Libby account because she's not got her library card renewed. And I keep bothering her to do so, but she hasn't. So I looked at the Kindle price, way too expensive for me to purchase it for her. Stupid expensive. I'm not spending double digits for a Kindle book. I just can't bring myself to do so. I'll get a book physical that I can actually keep. That I know is definitely mine, because I mean, the Kindle, you're just renting the ability to read it. It's not technically your book. So I went ahead and picked up We Solve Murders by Richard Osman. Like I said, I thoroughly enjoyed this. I didn't expect to. And I mentioned everything that I liked about this in the review that I wrote, that I did on this. I haven't posted yet. So I don't want to say too much about that because I go into this book in a lot more detail in that review. I haven't yet read the book that he's famous for, or the books that he's famous for, which are the Thursday Murder Club books. This one's also, this one's also supposed to become a series, We Solve Murders. But if the Thursday Murder Club is anything like We Solve Murders, I do need to get on it and read that as well. But yes, I picked one of these up for my mom as well. And eventually, I hope that she will sit down and read that. Even though we won't necessarily read it together, I'm hoping that she will read it now that she has it. I mostly picked this up because if I was going to buy her one, I was going to definitely buy myself one. Then, now the other mysteries that I picked up. Now, these are all Golden Age. And I'm sorry, I say I picked up. This one I picked up, like these two. Yes, they were Christmas gifts, but these were Christmas gifts to myself because I wanted to pick them up for my mom. So a lot of times what will happen is I will say, oh, I want to read that book, but I also really very much want my mom to read that book. So I'll pick up two. Now, in this case, I knew that she would want to read this book, and I mostly picked it up so I could keep up with her, and we'll probably read this one as a buddy read. This one here, I wanted her to read the book because I had enjoyed it. So, slightly different situation, but both of these were gifts to myself, but they were connected to gifts for my mom. So these are like buddy gifts. These, well, first the non-Christmas gift ones. I had mentioned earlier, and I think I already posted a review on it, when I read the Christmas card Murder. It was a short story collection that was a Library Crime Classics collection of short stories. So they had a book in there, they had a story in there by Father Ronald Knox, who is, of course, a Golden Age author, also a member of the Detection Club. But in the little bio that Edwards wrote about Father Knox, he mentioned that Father Knox's sister, Winifred Peck, wrote mysteries as well. She only wrote 2, as it turns out. But she was also a Golden Age mystery author. She wrote other books as well, other novels from what I understand, but I was really only interested in her mysteries because I thought it was kind of interesting that both of these siblings wrote Golden Age mysteries. I think that I had read in Father Knox's biography that I've just finished, on January 1st, I finished Father Knox's biography by Evelyn Waugh, which I still need to do a review on this. But in there, I believe it mentioned that he wrote 5 mysteries, so his sister wasn't terribly far behind with her 2. I believe the first one is Arrest the Bishop, ? I'm pretty sure this is the first one. Let's see. Oh, no, I'm sorry. They very nicely have the date on here. So this one's 1933. That's the Wary-La Jewel. And then this one here is 1949, Arrest the Bishop, ? So, I've read just like a little bit of the back in here, kind of makes me feel like she might be similar to her brother in some of her humor, but maybe not quite as, sometimes Father Knox can get a little bit highbrow, but that's just because he was very highly educated. Not that he would purposely be highbrow, I don't think. It's just that he had a definite fascination with older languages and like literature and that kind of thing. So sometimes he would kind of wander, at least in the was it Footsteps on the Lock? No, it wasn't Footsteps on the Lock. It was the one I read last year. Can't remember the one that I read last year. I don't have it up here anymore. I have it back there with my other mysteries. The Viaduct Murder. I noticed that sometimes he would just like wander into philosophizing, which makes sense based off of just what I know about Father Knox as a person from his biography. He mostly turned to mystery writing out of necessity, not necessarily because he was even necessarily the biggest fan of the genre. He was very much of a puzzle person, although he was a huge Sherlock Holmes fan as well. But I don't get the impression that she falls into philosophizing the way her brother does. So I'm interested in seeing how I like this. Now, his book, in spite of the philosophizing, his books do have a lot of humor. I kind of see some of his humor just kind of like glancing through this. I think I might be able to enjoy some of that as well. So I'm looking forward to these. I think she's another one of those that kind of slips under the radar. And she's another project of, I believe his name is Martin Edwards. Yeah, Martin Edwards. He does the, he's considered a crime historian. He wrote, I don't have it up here anymore, The Golden Age of Murder, which is a history of the beginning of the Detection Club and of a lot of the authors who wrote during that time period. So not just Agatha Christie, but Dorothy L. Sayers. I'm sure it touches on A.A. Milne, although I don't remember much about him in there. Berkeley, a bunch of different people, the Crofts. So he wrote a really interesting history on the Golden Age of Murder, which I thoroughly enjoyed and do intend to reread at some point. And he does the introductions to all the Library of Crime Classics books. You kind of get that is his pet project, his baby. And like I said, in his introduction to Father Knox in that short story, he mentioned Winifred Peck. And both of these books have an introduction by Martin Edwards. As yet, he's not had these added to the Library of Crime Classics, although I wouldn't be surprised if these books eventually do end up added, because she really is a forgotten author. Just like sometimes her brother gets forgotten, she even more so does. So I look forward to reading these. And they're not like terribly huge. I might not be able to get one in this month, but I'd like to get one in this year. Oops, stay. I didn't plan this very well. Okay, there. Now for the actual Library of Crime Classic books that I received for Christmas. This one doesn't have the cover for Library of Crime Classics. This got picked up as a used version. I'm not sure who put this one out. This is Reinhardt's suspense novel. But it's not the author Reinhardt. It's not Mary Robert Reinhardt? There's another Golden Age mystery author who's Mary something Reinhardt. I want to say it's Robert Reinhardt, but I could be wrong. I think her detective tends to be a nurse, if I remember correctly. I read a couple of hers when I first joined BookTube. But this is not Reinhardt. It's put out by a company called the Reinhardt Suspense Novel. But this is The Christmas Egg by Mary Kelly. So another one of the British Library of Crime Classics that is a Christmas-themed one. So even though this doesn't have the British Library of Crime Classic cover, it is a British Library of Crime Classic. Then next I have, and I do enjoy her work, the books that I've read so far. I've read Heads You Lose and Green is for Murder, I think that's what it's called. Anyway, Christiana Brand. I am looking forward to reading, I think it's called Death in High Heels. It was a recent British Library crime classic release earlier this year, I want to say, a couple months ago. I don't have it yet, but I think I have a Kindle version, but I kind of like to get most of the British Library crime classics physically if possible, because I really do like their covers, and I can see myself rereading them. But anyway, this is London Particular by Christiana Brand. I have, besides Green is for Murder over there, I also have Death of a Jezebel, and I think I have one other Christiana Brand physically over there. I don't actually own Heads You Lose physically. That, I believe Heads You Lose is actually her first novel. Yeah, so I don't know anything about London Particular other than the fact that this is a Christiana Brand, and I tend to expect good things of a British Library crime classic. I've been wanting to read an Anthony Berkeley. He's a founding member of the Detection Club, and this is Murder in the Basement. Don't know anything about it other than it's an Anthony Berkeley, but I've been wanting to read his work, and like I said, he's a founding member of the Detection Club. Now, okay, I actually don't think this one is a library crime classic. This is The Golden Age, murder mystery. Oh, this looks almost like it's got a similar, is it also? Okay, I thought so. Now, these are put out by DSP. I thought that this cover had the similar feel to these two. Okay, so this is The Case of the Dead Diplomat by Basil Thomas, and Inspector Richardson Murder, and this is number 4 in the series. So I need to look for number 1 because I do tend to like to read the first book of a mystery author first. Or, yeah, our first book about, even if it's not the first book for the mystery author, I want to read the first book in that character series. So I would want to read Inspector Richardson's first mystery, and then I'll care what order I read it in. Just because I want to meet the character as people during the time would have first met the character. So yes, I do not believe this is a Detection Club mystery. It does have a Martin Edwards introduction, though, which it seems about par of the course for most little-known Golden Age mysteries. If they're being re-released, they seem to be because of his influence. So I'm going to have a lot of books with Martin Edwards' like stamp of approval on them. I think all of these older mysteries actually somehow have his stamp of approval. They're either a British Library crime classic, or in this case, this is DSP, which I haven't heard of this publisher before. I first saw it for Winifred Peck's mysteries, and now for Basil Thomas. I'm just trying to see what DSP is. So it's Dean Street Press. Okay, so I need to be looking for Richardson's first case. So that's what the book is actually called. So I'll look for that one. Now, my non-mysteries for fiction are pretty much all fairy tales or fairy tale adjacent. First of all, I did not know, and this is another buddy gift with my mom. I've been doing a lot of searching into Robin Hood. I wanted to know more about the folklore. And I have a couple of Robin Hood related books here. So I have the original Robin Hood, Story Worlds of Robin Hood. Are those the only 2 Robin Hood books I have over here? Okay, I guess these are my main 2 Robin Hood books right now. But I also now have, and this was a buddy gift, I picked these up for my mom. Initially, I was drawn to them. First of all, like I said, I was looking for Robin Hood, but Mom likes Dumas. And apparently Dumas wrote a Robin Hood duology, I guess you would call it. So Prince of Thieves was written in 1872, and Robin Hood the Outlaw was written in 1873. So apparently the 1872 one, okay, so one of them is supposed to, I don't know why this one says welcome back to Sherwood Forest, because this is the first one in the series. And this one is the second one in the series, so I don't know. Anyway, one of them is supposed to cover from the beginning, I guess it would be this one, supposed to cover Robin Hood's childhood as well. So it's apparently quite detailed. I've never heard of these. I'm really interested. Apparently, they aren't very well known. So I got Mom the books because I know she likes Dumas. I got myself the books because I've been really on a folklore kick, and this fits in with the rest of my folklore. Now, this was from Christmas Money. This is Dragon Fairy Tales, Fiery Stories, Myths, and Legends from Around the World. So you have things from like Brothers Grimm. You have St. George of Merry England. And of course, Mary spelled Merrie. They probably are going to call the dragon a worm here, like Wyrm. Ooh, I have that really awesome washi tape that has worms, Wyrm, on them. Oh, I've got to save it for this book. Oh, I'm so excited. I have matching washi tape for this book. So they have, let's see. This one's a Japanese one here, Daughter of the Moon. An Italian one, Cicerino and the Dragon. The Dragon and His Grandmother is the Brothers Grimm one. Oh, I've listened to a podcast that told the Prince Lindworm story. For some reason I thought that was a British story. I guess it's actually Norwegian. Another English one here, Chinese one. They don't say. Oh no, I see. That's all one story. Una the Lion and the Lion, How the Red Knight Slew the Dragon. That one's English. Romanian here. I haven't read any Romanian ones. The Flower Queen's Daughter. What else? I haven't read any Bulgarian. The 9 Peahens and the Golden Apple. I haven't read any Belgian. Turk, Turban, Tulip, and Dragon. Oh, this is going to be interesting. Canadian, The Boy and the Dragon. Another Romanian, A Czech Tale, 9 at a Blow. So this looks to be interesting because there is some folklore from countries that I haven't read their folklore yet. So I'm really kind of interested. It's not a huge collection, but it just looks like it can be fun. I'm sure most of them you're going to have either a villainous dragon, which is probably most common, or you'll have a situation where someone is turned into a dragon by a curse and then having to overcome that. Because I've seen that a couple times in folklore. Alrighty, so the last one is kind of folklore adjacent. Again, another Robin Hood. It's just called Robin Hood. It's put out by Thames and Hudson. Anyone who enjoys historical detective work should read this. So it's it goes in and I guess it tries to figure out, first gives you the legend, and then it's trying to figure out who Robin Hood might have been, then who the original audience would have been, the later traditions for Robin Hood. So this really goes through everything Robin Hood related, both not only in the story world, it sounds like, but also like the meta surrounding it, like what created this legend and how it's grown through time. So it'd be interesting to compare it to maybe the original Robin Hood. I don't know what Story World, I can't remember what Story Worlds is. So all three of these books will probably bring something slightly different to the story. And then you have, actually Story Worlds might actually be the stories themselves. And then there's the Dumas version, which is, I'm guessing his spin on things. I haven't read it, so I'm interested. Anyway, that is my fiction book haul. I'm really looking forward to diving into some of these, particularly some of these mystery authors that I haven't had a chance. Like, I'm really interested in Winifred Peck in particular, because she feels like she's such a hidden author. Like she really is missing, for lack of a better term. She's forgotten. And so I'm really interested in seeing if it was kind of like justified, like if she's not very good, or if it's just that she's one of those authors who slipped under the radar, because there's so many great mystery authors during that time period. Anyway, that's it for me. I've got to create the next book haul video for my nonfiction, so I'll see y'all for that video. Have a very wonderful day. God bless. Bye-bye.
Books keep coming home with me, piles so tall they're all I see. Turn a page and sail the sea. Reading always feels so free.